I appreciate the opportunity.
John, I think it was Sunday, maybe it was Saturday. I think it was Sunday. So you sent a Facebook post out that somebody sent to me. I don't even know who. And it was before the football games were coming on, right? So I'm, determining what loser I'm going to pick this week, right? So I'm going through that. Somebody sends me this from John King. And I don't know, it was a Facebook post or something you wrote. And I'm like, wow, this guy nailed it. You nailed it. You talked about the fact that we're excusing away these string of losses we're having, Georgia particularly. We're excusing it away with early voting. Trump's not on the ballot. Nobody knew about it. Not enough people are showing up, blah, 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 blah. And you said, look, we're getting our ass kicked because we're not addressing the concerns of real people. And I'm like, I got to get this guy on. John, can you elaborate on that? It was a great piece you wrote.
Well, thank you, John. We've become complacent. And I think that's our biggest danger to our democracy, is that when we become comfortable, we were successful because President Trump has led our nation. He has brought the good ideas how to fix it. It's taken time because the economy was really messed up. The problem is that we become complacent because we won this last victory, and we're getting our butts handed to us because we've taken things for granted. We have to go out there every day and fight because we have the right plans. We have a vision of make America great again. That is incredible, and we can wrap ourselves around that. But we have to deliver. We have to go to the communities. I went to one of the district GOP meetings, and we talked about what I wanted to do. But I didn't hear any of the other candidates. They all just wanted to say, well, I'm the MAGA candidate. Okay. And what else are you going to deliver to our party? We have the right ideas. We have delivered real solutions. We delivered tort reform and now I'm pushing to get legislation here in Georgia to control the insurance companies because I think they're gaming the system. President Trump has been very clear about what it's going to take to fix healthcare. But we can't take things for granted. And we have to deliver every time, every election. We have to be the party of ideas. And I think we've gotten complacent the last couple of months. And it's showing up. When we show up to vote, we win. And that's what we have to do. We have to motivate our voters that we are the party of ideas and actually a strategy.
John, what is driving down turnout?
I think people are complacent. Because President Trump is not on the ballot, they don't think that they're really, they think they got it in the bag. And so candidates have to go out there and talk about not just I'm the MAGA candidate. No, I'm MAGA, and these are the things that I want to do to support our movement. And we're not hearing that. And that's what we have to get candidates to out there and really describe this vision. It's easy to get behind a slogan. We have to deliver inside this strategy.
What are some of the reasons why the Georgia Republicans lost those two public service commissioner races?
I think because we had Republicans in those districts. I think we took it for granted. And we have to fight for every district that we're competing in Georgia. Georgia's not a solidly, bright red state anymore. We are a competitive state. We're a 47-45 state, and we better go out there and compete for every vote. We can't take anything for granted. And that's why this week I'm going to go out there and support a couple of our candidates who are out there on the ballot, who are working hard. And us who have been elected statewide, we also have a responsibility to support our candidates and our party. We have to go out there and go and knock on doors and do exactly what got President Trump the Georgia vote.
So tell me a little bit about you're the insurance commissioner for Georgia. Last time we had you on, you were still in the U.S. Senate race, so we talked about that. But you are the insurance commissioner of Georgia, and that's been an interesting office. It's been rocked by some scandals with your predecessor, and of course, I knew John Oxendine back in the day. He was always fun to meet with. around then. But what are you seeing in insurance? We have this big healthcare insurance. Now you're the commissioner in Georgia, which is, if people don't understand this, the insurance commissioner of Georgia is one of the most powerful positions in the nation, because anything you do insurance wise that doesn't jive, you got to go through the insurance commissioner, and he's got a tremendous amount of authority. So what do we need to do to get this healthcare fixed?
John, I think that the federal government has really failed our nation. And I think the states gave up too much of their authority to Washington. Georgia pulled out of Obamacare 2 years ago. And since then, we've been delivering on behalf of Georgia consumers. I don't work for insurance companies. I work for the citizens of the state of Georgia. I'm the advocate for the consumer. I can't wreck the industry in the process, but my job is to deliver, affordable health plans, affordable insurance for our constituents. Now, when insurance companies break the rules, my job is to go and investigate and hold them accountable. I have fined insurance companies more than any other previous insurance commissioner in Georgia's history. We've recovered over $100 million back to consumers' pockets as a result of our investigations. I want insurance to make a modest profit, but they can't do it off the backs of our consumers. And that's my job, to hold their feet to the fire.
Tell me about, we're with John King, Republican Insurance Commissioner, state of Georgia. John, by the way, that's a statewide constitutional office there. John, tell us, when you say you pulled out of Obamacare, explain that, how'd that work, and what have been
Georgia, Georgia exercised its rights as a state to pull out of the federal Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, and we established our own marketplace in Georgia called Georgia Access. And what we did is we told insurance companies, don't limit the number of products that you deliver. And we're going to police it. And if we have agents and we have companies committing fraud, we're going to hold their feet accountable. We're going to take their license, and we're going to fine them. We've issued over $20 million in fines just this year alone for companies that didn't deliver mental health parity, that broke the rules on our mental health parity. Insurance companies don't get held accountable in the federal system, but because we hold their license, we can keep them on. We can keep them we can keep them honest. And that's has been the biggest challenge in the federal system. Either it's too big, or we have an incredibly large bureaucracy that they're now holding insurance companies accountable. The solution is with the states. We hold their feet to the fire, and we have the authority to also regulate them.
So are your health insurance costs lower than other states as a result of what you've done, lower than the federal exchanges?
Oh, well, the programs have to be certified by the federal, but they have to have the same standards that the Obamacare has. But right. What we do is we have companies put more products. So you individually, John, can go and select the plan that is right for you, not what the government is telling you have to take, and then subsidize a bunch of other folks there. And then when we have people committing fraud, when they're underreporting their income, or when they're people being switched from one plan to another without them knowing, we hold them accountable. That's what was lacking in the federal system. And so our companies are reacting. Oh, by the way, the fees generated in the market stay in the state of Georgia. Then we can fund a reinsurance pool, which is the high risk pool, which is really the basis of how. We don't have navigators. We don't have people that, for example, used to work for Stacey Abrams and getting paid by the federal government to go and promote insurance. We have agents who are doing what they do best. They sell insurance, and the taxpayer is not paying for them.
And that high risk pool, I remember that. You get the money for the high risk pool, so that allows people at higher risk to get lower cost insurance, because there's a pool there that the insurance company can draw from if indeed there's a payout. There's a high risk payout, right?
Absolutely, John. And what is also
that was a brilliant move you guys did. I always thought, when I lived there, I always thought that was a brilliant move.
Well, the impetus for this, John, is that we were having companies competing in our urban areas where there's a lot of market share, but they were not competing in the rural parts of our state, where we only had one company competing, and that was they had a virtual monopoly. when we established the reinsurance pool, then other companies knew that their high risk was covered. And so they went and competed in parts of our state. There's not a single county in the state of Georgia that has less than 3 carriers competing for business. With competition, we are able to drive the cost of insurance, especially in some of our rural parts. We were able to drive 23 to 25% lower costs on premiums across our rural parts of Georgia where we had the least amount of competition.
I mean, you got to figure it out. I remember when I was there was a debate about that Georgia insurance was high because you couldn't compete across state lines. How did that ever get resolved?
What we did is we are now working as the Southeast commissioners. We're encouraging other states across the Southeast to do what we're doing. And I think there's a vehicle there that if we can get several states to form a compact, there's a possibility of doing that as well. But at least the innovation is taking place at the states. You're not hearing any talk of innovation in the federal system. And I think that's what I'm a big proponent of bringing this. We gave too much authority to the federal government to have control over our lives. And I think it's time that states take some of that control back from Washington, where we can't take 40 days off and just shut the government down. We will be tarred and feathered if we did that nonsense. We have to deliver every day because we're accountable to the people.
Now, when you say you pulled out of Obamacare, so do you have any residents that will be affected if the Obamacare subsidies expire without an extension?
John, there's so much talk of the subsidies. The subsidies were a landmine that were planted by the Obama administration. They knew that sooner they were trying to wreck the health system where we would have a single payer. And so These landmines were planted back in the Obama administration. I would like to have perhaps the subsidies probably maybe for a year to help us transition out of this. But I'll tell you, our performance right now on Marketplace, because we're marketing to people and we're telling them, hey, you had a silver plan last year. Well, you didn't use as much as your insurance as you probably, you thought you were going to have. How about looking at a bronze plan? And this was more suited for the amount of claims that you put in last year. And so we're talking to people individually. We're talking to over 1 million people in Georgia about, and the market is responding to that. And so even if the subsidies got passed, I think it's too late to implement them in the first place. And of course, personally, I don't like the idea of health insurance companies getting more money out of the tax rolls as it is, because this money would go to insurance companies. They're not going to go. It's not going to go to the individuals where really Americans really need that help. And that's what we have to deliver. We have to deliver options for Americans, not just shoveling more money into the pockets of insurance companies.
You're on the John Fredericks Media Network, Trucking the Truth Across America. We're with Georgia Insurance Commissioner John King. So, John, let me ask you a question. So you were running for U.S. Senate and Governor Kemp asked you to get out of the race. Are you a victim of your own performance?
No, you know what? I'm a bit of John. That's very funny, by the way.
Come on, that's a good question.
It's a great question, but
just like a compliment.
Thank you. You know what, John? This was not about my ego. I've been I'm a retired military officer for the United States Army for 41 years. I've had bad news delivered by my bosses in the past, but this is bigger than me. This is about Georgia not having 2 Democratic senators. It is embarrassing as a Republican in Georgia that I have 2. California might as well have 3 senators, maybe 4 senators if you count Mr. Warnock. They're not representing the interests of our state, and we have to change that. And so when the governor said that he was going to back somebody else, you know what? He is my governor. I'm going to respect. I don't like what he said to me, but at the end of the day, this is about winning that seat back and putting Georgia back in the red column, because right now we have no representation in the Senate.
Are you backing? Have you made a decision to back Coach Derek Dooley?
I'm waiting for them to earn my vote. right now we're hearing some great things, but I'm interested in specifics, and I think that's what we have primaries. We're not Democrats, and the Democratic Party has coronations. And Republicans, we fight through a primary process. I want to hear ideas. I want to hear details and who's best suited to be able to represent. But once we make that selection, I'm going to be out there working my butt off to make sure that we have a Republican elected to the United States Senate for Georgia.
What is this? You're really good, John. What is the state of the Republican Party in Georgia? They had a string of losses. They've had some not good media about various members doing various things that are not good, and they're losing races. What is it? What is the state? Do we have a Georgia GOP? Like Virginia doesn't have a Republican Party, so forget that. Now, I live in Washington, D.C., the safest city in America. We actually have a Republican Party here. It's real. We only get 7% of the vote, but it's vibrant, and we get things done. What's going on with the Georgia GOP?
Well, first of all, thank you for mentioning Washington, D.C. I was there about 4 days ago for a border security conference. And I'll tell you, standing next to a bunch of West Virginia National Guardsmen down there on East Street, that made me feel like, you know what, these are my folks. And I went and thanked every one of them because
good for you, John. I do that every single day. I went on I went in the metro yesterday. I saw 3 of them at the Cleveland Park station. I got off. I saw 3 of them at the Metro Center. I do the same thing every single time I see them. I get up to them. I thank them for, as a DC resident, keeping us safe. And I'm like, look, all the flack you're getting, it's not from the people that live here. It's the people that coming from Northern Virginia, Montgomery County, Maryland, the libtards with masks, white women, all. It's not us. We love you guys. You're making us safe. Thank you.
These are kids from West Virginia, and it was freezing cold, John. It was brutal cold. I mean, us Southerners don't do too well with cold weather. But I tell you, I went and thanked every one of them. Not a single one of them was whining about the cold. They had smiles on their face. They were alert. And these are West Virginia kids who just lost one of their comrades that was killed, and another one is recovering from their injuries. That to me shows me what's the best about America. I'll tell you, when it comes to the Georgia Republican Party, I have incredible faith and confidence in Josh McCoon. He's been an incredible chairman. This is a call to action for us Republicans, and we can't just wait for things to happen to us. Josh is engaged. Senior, statewide elected officials in Georgia, Republicans. This was a call to action. We now got slapped in the face. Now we need to go out there and deliver. We're at halftime. Well, I get it. We're at halftime, and just like our Georgia Bulldogs, we're out here now getting ready to hunker down and start paying attention to every district is competitive, and we better go out there and knock on some doors and make our case.
So, John, I bet the Georgia Bulldogs to win the championship. I got 6-1. It's since gone down. 6-1 I got, like, immediately when it first opened. I'm like, I'm going to jump on these dogs after that Alabama win. Did I make a good bet?
Absolutely. Even though, as a former police officer, I don't encourage people to go and gamble. I think that's probably as good
legal. John, it's legal. It's not legal in Georgia. It's legal in Washington.
But you know what? That's a good investment. It's almost as good as your 401k, probably better.
Okay, but I also bet the Falcons last week after telling everybody never bet the Falcons. They finally won a game. Guess it was what? They beat Tampa. The Kirk Cousins always beats Tampa. He owns them. It's too funny. If he started all season, you guys might have had a shot to get in the playoffs. You still actually have a shot. But Michael Penix, no, he's just not an NFL quarterback. This stuff happens. I'm a Titans fan. We got Will Levis from Kentucky, not an NFL quarterback. Some of these guys just don't make it. Penix not going to make it. If you started Cousins from day one, I think you'd be at the top of the division. Just saying.
He's a great player. He's a great person.
He
He's
is.
gone and done a bunch of engagements and supporting our first responders out throughout the community. I'm also I supervise the state fire marshal's office, and he's out there in the community making some great role models for our kids. So, but at the end of the day, I have more faith right now on our college teams, both Georgia Tech and University of Georgia. We're all in.
John King, thanks for being with us. Great segment, by the way. Keep up the good work in insurance, John. Go Dogs, 6-1. It's a hell of a price I got. John, people want to follow you. Where do they go?
VoteJohnKing.com. Get on our website. Send us your comments. Send us your ideas. We're always open for business here in Georgia.
When are you guys going to pass legalized gambling in Georgia so Georgia residents are not going offshore and you're losing all this money? You're not going to stop them from betting on athletics, John. You're not going to stop them. They just go offshore or they go to the illegal bookmaker.
I know. It's just one of those. As a police officer, that one there's still a hard lift for us here in Georgia. But you know what? I'm focused on fixing insurance. I'm hoping, and I'm out here focused on making sure that our communities are safe every day.
Good job, John. Thank you for being with us.